Heyo people! I have a lot of mixed thoughts about the Warbow rework, even now, a month after it's dropped. So, I'm here with the changes, but I too still have a lot of questions. Overall, Warbow has changed from a slow, hard-hitting AoE class that struggled in a much faster game meta to a single-target debuffer class, and every skill now has two different effects, based on whether you're charging or not. With all the debuffs and buffs to choose from, I personally have no clue what to do for a rotation, so calling all theory crafters, please help me. But anyway, let's start out the skill comparison. First up, here we have the old triple shot. As the name implied, it was just shooting 3 arrows. The new skill, Precise Shot, applies a stacking flat defense debuff that blows the old corrosive shot out of the water, and when uncharged has no cooldown. The full charge just increases the skill's crit rate, crit damage, and bow damage for the one shot. Next, Frost Arrow. The old one was a move speed debuff when uncharged and a freeze when charged, and it had a nice AoE. It didn't get a new name, but now no charge is freeze, a full charge is a damage taken debuff, and it's got no AoE anymore. Third, our old favorite Dimensional Shot was, on the Dark Path, a linear AoE field of effect dot applier and was the top skill in our kit for Dark Bow. Now, Nightfall Hex Shot is a small AoE below the target with a 15% damage quadruple strike effect for all skills for 6 seconds when not charged, and a dark damage taken debuff when fully charged. Fourth, Blessing of the Winds used to be a damage, move speed, and 30% double strike buff, but is now Zephyr Blessing, an AoE healing skill that even hits players outside of your party and applies a damage taken reduction buff. Side note, there's a really odd mastery you can activate for this skill where you can use it to teleport to party members, or just friendlies in general, including your Eidolons and people outside of the party. It's clunky to use and I'm not sure where it would be helpful. Next up, Corrosive Shot. This old skill was a flat defense debuff that stacked 3 times and was completely outclassed by the massive amount of defense late game enemies have. The new skill, Blood Dance Arrow, has some lifesteal, and when uncharged will reduce the target's healing by 70%, or when full charged applies a skill seal. Side note, this is a physical skill that you can change to be dark or holy with a mastery, depending on what kind of bow you want to be. Arrow of Light, with its excellent wing animation, is gone. Meet Aurora Arrow, which is a percent defense debuff. When not charged, you get a debuff for 40% more crit damage taken, and when charged, you'll get a holy damage taken debuff. Behold the old Hail of Arrows. It was an AoE with lifesteal. Now, meet its replacement, Zephyr Turmoil. It's got a damage taken debuff, then when not charged has a knockback effect, and on full charge gives you a self buff for holy and dark damage. Burst of Speed does not have any visual changes, but it gains 5% more speed even when used as a subclass, and main rangers will get 45% more crit damage. Now, Demonic Snipe, the old hard-to-use mastery skill. It has been replaced with Thorn Piercing. This new one increases the damage of combo effects for 3 seconds. When not charged, it also has a physical debuff, and when fully charged, it gives you double combo for 3 seconds instead. It looks like it should have an AoE, but it doesn't. And I just want to note that 3 seconds for doubling up combo seems underwhelmingly RNG. And lastly, our old Prismatic Punishment is gone, replaced with Radiant Darkness Cycle. This is actually a physical skill that applies an all-elemental damage taken debuff. No charge makes it a stun, and a full charge will hit your target with 2 extra damage instances, one holy, called Radiant Entwine, and one dark, called Dark Chant, which have quite high amps. The way I look at it, it seems like basically every attack has now 2 different choices. You still need to charge to build up stacks from your Envoy, but for some skills, maybe you don't want the full charge effect. And worth noting, the bonus damage for charging is no longer listed on the skills themselves, it's on the center Envoy node instead, as it's now a flat 210% for all skills and only for bow mains, but we'll get to Envoy nodes at the end. For now, we're going to go over the paths. The new right spec is Twilight Wanderer, and can I just pause to say that we have a few time of day names peppered through the kit, which is a lovely little coincidence that made me happy? Anyway, back to the kit. This is your light and dark path. It adds AoE to both Nightfall Hex Shot and Aurora Arrow, and at 60 mastery guarantees those extra light and dark hits from the full charge Radiant Darkness cycle will crit. That being said, the passive buffs are underwhelming. It increases your own holy and dark defense, reduces your boss crit damage taken, and has a massive evasion buff and some extra move speed, but only while charging. I guess survivability is nice, but I kinda wanted more power for leveling it up to 60, not just defensive stuff. The new left spec is Soulstrike Archer, which is a PvP-focused physical path. And, okay, we have 4 physical skills, so the class can be physical, especially since you can spam Precise Uncharged, which gains a physical damage taken debuff at 60 mastery on this path. Blood Dance Arrow also gets a physical damage taken debuff at 60 mastery, with a bonus 10% buff to all stats when you hit a target that has that debuff. And that's all well and good, but then the bow gets some stuff I don't think we've seen before. When facing players, Zephyr Turmoil applies target's main skill damage and main class skill level reduction debuffs. Then, when facing monsters, that skill will instead apply attack speed and accuracy reduction. And finally, the passive buffs it gains is increased range, which is no longer on the Envoy path, some move speed, but less than the during charge effect on the other path, and an accuracy and damage down debuff. Lastly here, we're going to talk about the Envoy nodes. And they move the nodes around a little, so if you haven't yet, you might need to rework your Envoy. We can start with the center node. The crit, accuracy, and pen boosts on charge effects are gone, replaced with just the 210% skill damage when charged. What we've gained is 15% boss damage, and the uncharged skills have a shorter cooldown. The move speed is the same as before. We keep Deadly Hunt, the charge shot stacking buff, but its spot moved from the bottom right to the top left. There's no longer a node in the bottom right. So I'll count Shadow Symphony, a holy dark buff for crit damage and skill damage boosts for the Arrow of Light and Dimensional Shot, which used to be at the top left spot, as being replaced with Radiant Darkness Outburst, which is at a new spot in the top right. This is a much more straightforward holy and dark skill damage buff that you can trigger with any crit hit. Next, Longbow, the old range increase node, is replaced with Forest Ambush, which increases your main weapon crit rate by 10% per tick while you stand still, up to 6 stacks. This sounds kinda cracked, but you do have to stand still for it to stack. You can jump, but no kiting or it resets. Battlefield Motivator is gone. That was a buff that applied an 8% double damage to you and all your nearby party members, and instead we have Piercing Ice Dust, which makes targets affected by Frost Arrow take 30% more damage from bow skills. It's also right next to the Frost Arrow nodes that increases application duration. Inherent Purity, which decreased your Arrow of Light cooldown, has been replaced with Combo Frenzy. This is a stacking chance for quadruple strikes of 65% damage. And lastly, Overdraw, which was a stacking accuracy and damage for full charge shots, has been replaced with a pen buff you get from using the Mastery Path skills. This kinda replaces the pen we lost from the old center node in a way that doesn't penalize you for not charging some shots if that's what the situation calls for. Anyway, it seems like we have the tools to absolutely crush single targets, but I feel a bit of choice paralysis with how many there are. At the very least, those quadruple strike effects are nice to handle the issue I had before with bosses that had shields you needed to hit hundreds of times to break. But then, are those better for normal mob fighting? Do I or do I not charge Nightfall Hexshot? Maybe both? I don't know guys, I really don't. I know this is a buff, and it should slap with these numbers. I'm just so used to having much more AoE that I don't know what to do. I felt like a scrub on my main account trying to run the new solo Nightmare, picking off the mobs one at a time. But you know, Bow really does have a lot of debuffs going on, and most of the effects apply when using as a subclass too. So I've been thinking Bow might actually be a really viable subclass for holy or dark main classes. Bard has the detailed damage and pen going for it, but if you're in late game and that's not as valuable, Bow has the kind of buffs you normally look for in an Eidolon, like damage taken up on Zephyr Turmoil. You can also snipe down their dark resistance, then hit them with Hymn of Doom. The quadruple hit effect works too on Nightfall Hexshot. Just don't judge my Lancer too hard here. She's in level 60 gear in an S10 dungeon. Anyway, charging is still fast even as a subclass, and you can definitely have the cooldowns done on every boss in every dungeon. And even the no cooldown on Precise Shot works as a subclass. Anyway, that's the new Warbow and a little of my thoughts about it. Sorry for the delay on this. It's been one part too much 9 to 5 work and one part not being sure what to say, but now I've said it, so that's that. Please share in the comments below how you feel about this. And I'm trying to get to the Lancer soon. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch you next time.